If you put me back in the White House, their reign will be over and America will be a free nation once again. It'll be free. In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
Welcome to CPAC 2025. America is back on track.
It's my honor to address you for the first time as your 47th President of the United States. The illegal alien criminals are being sent home. I've ended all of the so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the entire federal government. I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. So together for the next 4 years, we are going to fight, 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 and win, win, win.
Fight, 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 fight.
God is so good all the time. He gave us this close to losing our country because we had a corrupt government under Joe Biden. And thank God President Trump stood up. He took a bullet for us. God bless President Trump.
We have fought hard the last 4 years for our conservative rights, and we know that President Trump is, he's a father to this country. The MAGA movement is a revolution, a new revolution.
The energy's wild. Great, yeah. Yep. We're excited for what the future has to hold. I mean, what Trump and Elon are done so far is absolutely amazing. We're here to support.
Trump is praying for the future. America's the last bastion of freedom. If it falls, then the world falls behind it.
Now we've got the power.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
Fight, fight, fight. Amen.
I think revenge is a reasonable word for a lot of the things. He feels like he was wronged. He feels like the people who wronged him are, identifiable list of folks, the, mainstream media, Democratic leaders, mainstream and moderate members of the Republican Party, and those are all people who he has gone after. In the first administration, Trump got into office and didn't quite know what to do or how to implement things. Some of that's because, he's not a typical politician, so he didn't have typical politician expertise. Some of that's because the kinds of things that he wanted to do are just not things that a government is usually set up to do. And so they said, okay, well then we're going to have Biden for 4 or even maybe 8 years. And then after that, let's try to position ourselves and have people ready to step into these roles. And so, they targeted the 2024 election and Trump specifically. And so this is what Project 2025 is about.
Le projet 2025 est un projet élaboré par the Heritage Foundation, qui est un grand think tank conservateur états-unien, pour transformer le pays en accord avec leurs priorités que moi je qualifierais de réactionnaires.
You ever seen a document that could kill a small animal and democracy at the same time?
Les gens qui se revendiquent du projet 2025 et des idées qui sont contenues dedans sont des gens qui pensent que peut-être qu'on est allé trop loin, que la civilisation occidentale est en train de s'effondrer et qu'il faut la défendre et que la défense de la civilisation occidentale, comprise comme une civilisation blanche, chrétienne, capitaliste, est une société qui mérite d'être défendue et qu'il faut donc s'attaquer aux ennemis de cette société. Et les ennemis sont définis comme des personnes qui bénéficient des aides publiques, des gens qui minorisés à cause de leur couleur de peau, de leur orientation sexuelle, de leur identité de genre ou de leur genre tout simplement. Et donc pour protéger la société occidentale, il faut supprimer ces ennemis et donc il faut supprimer ces gens-là ou en tout cas il faut mettre ces gens à leur place, à savoir loin du pouvoir. Le projet 2025 est parfaitement cohérent avec une suppression de la démocratie, une suppression que Trump est en train de faire.
One thing that conservatives used to be big on was small government, but also limited government that didn't take sides, that let businesses thrive regardless of whatever they did. And so there are some changes in what it means to be conservative.
Trump is a normal, rational human. He happens to be a billionaire, but what you see is what you get.
2016, I didn't vote for him. Not because he might be a misogynist or a racist or a sexist, but I was really concerned that he might be a Democrat. And in reality, he senses what people really believe. He listens to the tone of the American people. I would say 80% of Democrats are, what we would call non-player character. They just do what the system tells them to do. They put up the Ukraine flag, they put up the LGBTQ flag, they put up the Black Lives Matter flag. Somebody told me to do it, and boom, it goes on my Facebook.
Yeah, they want bigger government. Bigger government means more money wasted, and it will bankrupt the next generation.
I think they're only talking to the elites. They've taken these social issues and they've really ran with them, and I think they've gotten a lot of support because of some of these social issues, and they've done such a good job at selling it to the people and convincing them that this is really the main issue at hand, and really all that matters is the fact that you don't have reproductive rights or whatever they're going to say.
Hey bitch, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. It's your body, my choice.
So horrifying to know that these are the people that are in my country. These are the people that get to vote for who is creating laws about me and my body, and really just showing how all this time has just been about controlling women and oppression. I think it's crazy that men can even vote on abortion rights, something that isn't going to affect them. Honestly, I am so sad and disappointed in this country. I wish I could just up and leave. There's definitely this crushing sense of hopelessness. The only hope I guess I would have is that there isn't going to be a federal ban on abortion. And maybe that's more of a wish than a hope.
But Donald Trump's relationship with women's rights is a little bit puzzling or complicated. On abortion, he's been, we want to find some balance. But of course, many other Republicans who are the Republicans he's put into power don't agree on that.
We've got to persuade our fellow citizens that unborn life is worthy of protecting. It is sacred in the eyes of God, and it should be sacred in the eyes of man too. And we have to pick up the torch and fight for that every single day.
Expect that you will see eventually more efforts by the federal government to limit abortion, for example.
And breaking news tonight, the deadly siege on Congress as an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol. We've seen shocking images of chaos, rioters rushing past barricades and police up the Capitol steps.
This year, they rigged an election. They rigged it like they've never rigged an election before.
A stunning scene at the heart of American democracy.
Trump wants to tell a different story about what happened there. He wants to say that the people rose up to defend the correct result of the election. And to do that, he's got to say these folks were political prisoners that were only targeted because they supported Trump, not because they actually committed any crimes. Of course, they did if they were not breaking into the Capitol building. But the president has the power of pardon.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
They accused us, the Proud Boys, of planning a coup, a lie perpetrated by the Biden regime to destroy our lives. We will not allow the government to rewrite history. We will not allow them to control the narrative. They thought we would break, they thought we would fail, but look at us now. My mother, my wife, they suffered for 3 years, and those who made them suffer will pay.
The biggest mistake that they made, though, when they put us in jail was you exposed us to all kinds of people who would normally never meet us. And now I have the back. These people all have my back. And everybody in there loved Trump. What was done to President Trump, the lawfare against him, the lawfare against us, all this was like a massive conspiracy case with President Trump as the designated kingpin, Ricky Tario and I as designated lieutenants, and all the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys as the spearhead of this so-called insurrection conspiracy. Complete false garbage.
I think he's proved up. He's kept his promise to us. He's also kept his promise to the whole country. He is doing what he said he was going to do. I think it's fantastic.
Stuart is out there in the same way that if my family were in a field of tall grass with a venomous snake somewhere. My name is Dakota Adams, the estranged eldest son of Elmer Stewart Rhodes, the founder of Oath Keepers, the right-wing paramilitary organization that he led into the Capitol on January 6th, for which he has now been released on President Trump's orders. It sent a very clear message that if you riot for Donald Trump and commit crimes for Donald Trump, eventually he will come to your rescue. One thing that is very handy for aspiring dictators to have is a pro-leader armed paramilitary that will do violence against the leader's opponents on the street. And this is why we saw the January 6th rioters being pardoned, and we've seen across all ideological lines the usefulness of unofficially approved armed groups that can self-deploy without explicit orders and do things that you might not necessarily want to risk ordering the police and military. So if there is a civil war in America, it could start well before the official military becomes involved and be a shooting conflict between armed protesters and pro-regime paramilitary forces like the Oath Keepers.
Trump definitely helps these groups to get stronger in that he gives them a level of legitimacy, which makes it easier for them to be comfortable stepping into the political space and sort of empowers them.
Many of you have been asking the question, what the hell happened to the Republican Party?
The Republican Party in 2016 was not Trump's party. Of course, that was 8 years ago, so now most of those Republicans have left the Republican Party or are less powerful within it, and the replacement is people who do like what Trump wants to do.
The reason that we're gathering here this weekend is that a lot of us that would have called ourselves traditional Republicans are looking for another way forward now. And the two big ideas are, do we join the Democratic Party as sort of the most far-right conservative coalition, or will Trump lead the Republican Party to its demise? And then do we help to revive a true conservative party in America some other way? We don't have a place in the Republican Party anymore. It's Trump's party, 100%. You see it in Congress. No Republican member of Congress is willing to stand up to Donald Trump. This is textbook authoritarianism behavior, and it's so anti-American. It's antithetical to everything that this country was founded on and anything that could be called American ideals. And it's horrifying.
He will violate court orders. And once he violates court orders, what the will we do?
The people need to be in the streets. Is that we really do need conservatives and Republicans for this to work, right? I mean,
Politics as usual in the United States is over, and that truth simply hasn't caught up with most people yet.
One scenario is that the American democracy as we know it ends. I don't think that we won't see an election in 2028. I don't think it'll be like that sharp. But you could very easily see big changes in what we think are acceptable. You could see Trump running for election again. You could see electoral rules being rewritten in such a way that it makes it very difficult for Democrats to win, such that we would stop calling the United States a democracy. By most definitions, we'd say it's a competitive authoritarianism or something like that. The trajectory of American politics in the last decade, and really the last several decades, hasn't been great from the point of view of sort of like a stable, comfortable democracy. And I don't see any reason that that trajectory is going to take a sharp turn under the Trump administration.